Pokemon Go has these live events. They want to have these super duper ultra mega big live events all the time. They have their own like tenets of like exercise, being social, exploring, things like that. Super things like that. So this was, I think, one of their first events in the West Coast. They did do one mini event in Los Angeles, and it was literally for like 5 hours. Like, it was kind of a surprise thing. It involved like Ultra Beasts. It was somewhere in LA. It was packed. There were so many people. I did not go to this. I definitely would have talked about it if I did, but this was all about Gen 3 Pokemon. So like Trico and Torchic and Numel and like Gardevoir, like all Pokemon I grew up with, because Pokemon Sapphire was my first game. So I figured, well, Vegas is probably the closest a live event is going to be to me for a while, because they usually do these events in like Seattle or like Chicago, something like that. So I figured, why not? Full disclosure, did not get paid for this event by Niantic or Pokemon. I'd love if they did, but they probably wouldn't want me to because of all this stuff I do. This event was Saturday and Sunday. I get to the park Saturday. I buy both days, and these are sold out events. There's apparently 25,000 people in a place called Sunset Park. So this is how big this park is. So this whole area, it looks pretty big, right? It's pretty big. It's a big park. It was not a big enough park. Apparently, a tweet went out and said 14,000 extra people who did not have tickets were also in the park. So there were 39, almost 40,000 people in this park, which caused multiple issues. multiple issues. I arrived there. It goes from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can do as much or as little as you want during that time, but most of the people wanting to do this are pretty hardcore people, which means they tend to play the whole time. So I get here at like 9:50 a.m. I stay at a hotel and I drive over a little bit early, and so they charge tickets for an event in a public space that wasn't sectioned off. Yes, that is 100% what happened. So I can pull this off. I was dropped off like around this area by this subway specifically. I was legit at this subway. Like, this is where I started my little quest, at this tiny subway. And then I like walked across here, and before it even started, I already saw like, there were already thousands of people on the other side. And you could enter the event from anywhere. Like, you can start from the left, the bottom. There are two like official entrances. There's like two like specific entrances, but you can get in from anywhere. Like, there's no gates. You can just walk on into the park. When you get close enough, and if you bought the ticket in your game, everything just pops up. If you don't have the ticket, well, you can still see like some gyms where you can do some raids, but you can't see any Pokemon. You can't see any Pokestops. So some people who didn't have tickets were like, why is there nothing here? I don't see anything going on. And it's because like, you're not supposed to be there. So there's a big marketing campaign. They're like, hey, look at this event. Oh, it's in Vegas. Oh, definitely come by. So in a sense, like, they were hyping up this event, even though only the people who bought the tickets are who they want to go to this event. But 14,000 other people came in anyway and still played. I mean, of course, you can still play without a ticket. Like, there's all these people, you can trade, you can battle with them. Park by itself is still a good place to play Pokemon Go. Like, I was at this park before last year, and they probably should have sectioned it off. They have sectioned it. That's weird, is they did section it off at other events. They just didn't do it with this one. So this was me. This was last year in about like August or so. So you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff everywhere. I just visited this park and was just like, oh gosh, there's stuff all over the place. So by itself, pretty cool. But if you don't have a ticket, none of that is there. This park would just be empty. So they tried to stop people from coming in by just removing everything for non-ticket holders. But that doesn't stop you. You can still go in and you can still talk to people and come in, but yeah, there was nothing. There was zero. There was some security. Just not like security. Like, of course, there were like Craigslist volunteers with the jackets. There was a small little police station, and I did see a few police cars go back and forth, but there was nothing like like, oh, like this is like someone can feel like protected where there's like protection. No, like anything could have happened. Like, thank goodness nothing like really bad happened. Like, I think I did see like a medical dispatch did go through, but nothing like awful happened, thankfully. But yeah, there were way too many people and you could feel it. This was just one moment. Like, this is actually one of the emptier areas. Like, you can see tons, thousands of people just going around. You can see, like, people just in a line in a distance. So, about the lines. So, the park is laid out into, like, sections. Like, there's, like, 4 sections of where you can find Pokemon. Like, there's, like, an area on the left side of the pond. There's an area on this side of the pond. And then there's an area on the bottom. And then there's an area on these tiny, tiny, tiny little pathways. And these pathways are like maybe like 5, like 10 people wide. Not even 10 people wide, like 6 people wide. But there's, due to the event and how the quest, they want you to go to all these areas of the park, right? So this just creates like a traffic jam of people having to slowly but surely walk around these tiny, tiny lines, like a literal assembly line. Like, I wasn't like completely bumping into each other, but man, thank goodness that we're not in the age of the vid anymore, because this would have been a real bad hazard. And like, you had to, if you really wanted like certain Pokemon, like if you wanted Mudkip, you're gonna stay in these little lines going over and over forever, because that's the only place you're gonna get Mudkip in this area. Or like, there's also like fossils, there's Carvana. Like, this park is big, but these paths are so tiny and it's surrounded by like bushes and stuff. Like, the bigger areas were fine. Like, this area with this big baseball park, totally cool. I can like, people can go around the paths, but you can also go like through the middle. You can go over here. You can go over here. Like, the food trucks were down here in this like parking lot, and man, the food trucks ran out of food like 4 hours in, and they're like, well, what are we gonna do? Because there were way more people than expected. And I tried, like, I thought, oh, I'll just be smart. I'm gonna go walk across the street and just go to like, you know, McDonald's over here. So I decided to walk all the way up here across the street, go to McDonald's, I order on my app, and I go in, and it's like, oh, food is gonna be a 45-minute wait at McDonald's. So like 45 minutes to get like a McChicken and some fries. And like, I'm like, oh gosh. And there are people, it was the most full I've ever seen a McDonald's in my life. This McDonald's has more people in it than like a classroom. Like, it is literally like wall to wall people. I eventually ended up going to like this little Mexican food place over here. It was pretty nice. And there were still a lot of people, but there were less people, which was fine. Like, this place was probably good. There's a Taco Bell over here, and it's this egg place. Heck, I could have gone to Subway too, but man, 10 a.m. spawns, Pokemon just pop out everywhere. They have these are things that are common at the Pokemon Go live events. They have these speakers that play the music from Pokemon Go. Not quite the Pokemon series, but from Pokemon Go. They do make some new music, but then they just start blasting the music. Let's see. Yeah, it just starts like blasting all over the place. Yeah, that's the most I've ever heard Pokemon Go music in forever, because most people don't play Pokemon Go with the music on, because it's very like, it's very much like, oh, you're playing a kid's game. It sounds very like over the top, like, yeah, look at me, like, look at me, yeah, look at me. And most people who play Pokemon Go, you know, like, don't want to be looking like the weirdos walking around with their phones and cameras everywhere. Raids. I should talk about the raids. So I eventually met up with some folks in my local Discord who happened to be going there. I chatted a little bit and everything. The main attraction were like Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon. 90% of the raids were those, and like 10% of them were like Deoxys, but these Pokemon were strong. Like, these were some of the toughest raid Pokemon I've ever fought in a Pokemon Go game. Like, they hit so hard. If you aren't maxed out 20 people in the raids. You lose so many Pokemon. Because there were like literally like thousands of people there, you had no problems raiding into things. Kyogre specifically, Kyogre was so hard due to not having a double weakness like Groudon did. I did like 40 raids, I didn't end up paying for them. I just happened to have a bunch of raid passes on me. And I did get a shiny Groudon, which is nice. I did get at least one shiny. I already have a shiny Kyogre, so I didn't exactly need one. Because these Pokemon are so strong, they're very not friendly for remote raids. Like, you probably shouldn't be remote raiding into them. 6 people could not take down Kyogre. Like, it might be able to take down Groudon, but... And you already don't get primal energy for remote raiding into them, but you only get 80. And you need 400 of them to... primal reverse into one of them or something. But the thing that I realized that was really bad was that the thing is, when you're playing Pokemon Go in a place you go to all the time, you get, the more you play the thing, the more Pokeballs you get, the more Premier Balls, and the more friends you have around here, that will give you more. But when you're in an event where you've been to a new place and people you've never been to, you don't get those bonuses. So I've been getting like 8 to 10 Premier Balls. Mostly 8. Mostly just 8 Premier Balls. And they did not make these legendaries easier to catch. No. So I lost many legendary Pokemon because of it. I lost multiple Groudon and Kyogre, especially Kyogre, because it just goes like whoop, 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 just back and forth, side to side, and it is frustrating. A big issue that everyone is talking on Twitter about is that the game just stopped working about like an hour and a half into the first day. Like, so many people, myself included, could not get into the game. I eventually learned there was like a dedicated Pokemon Go Wi-Fi for the park, but even that didn't work the best. And this was between like 11:20 to like noon. And yeah, I could have gotten a lot of stuff done there. And they did eventually fix it, but people are already mad. I walked past the help center they got, and there's definitely a line. It was a big line. Definitely not as long as the merch line, though. Like, that line, easily was probably, from one end of the park to the other end of the park for gosh dang shirts, of all things. And I don't know why. You can literally just, go on Etsy and make the same shirt, but... Oh, because it's from the Pokemon Company, it's a million times more valuable. Hoo-hoo. There was a guy with a megaphone who did announce that Saturday ticket holders would get a few remote passes and premium passes for their troubles, and I did get them, but they were only available for about 24 hours, meaning some folks definitely might have missed them. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much played... After that, I pretty much was playing and catching pretty much the entire day. I will say, it is... Because there are so many people, it is very easy to lose people unless you're discording and searching for them. I wanted to meet up with some content creators, just hoping I'd run into them. I did not run into them. I might have seen glimpses, but I was never in a position to go up and chat with them. They did have a meet and greet for notable trainers, which was cool, but there weren't that many. There were only 5 or so, and I didn't really want to meet most of them. I want to listen to the podcasters and stuff, but I couldn't quite find them. I mean, I still had fun. I wasn't very lucky, though, which did make me sad. I was trying to get at least 100%, and I didn't get one. I got some shinies. I think I ended with a dozen, including a shiny Latias just out of the blue. That was pretty neat. But yeah, I know some people are getting 20, 30, 40 shinies. And sure, a dozen. That's about as much as I get for a regular global event. So if you count shiny wise, I probably lost money there, but I did trade some cool regionals, which was very helpful. I got Klefki, I got Bouffalant, and I did help some other people too. So pretty neat overall. I did get a few free things people were giving out. They have these little trade signs right here where it's oh, I'm looking for these Pokemon and I'm willing to give these Pokemon. They're just pretty cute. And they also have this folded Pikachu. Oh, I ended up folding it, but you get a nice little Pikachu hat if you just want to have a little Pikachu just going around. That's cute. There were a lot of those. There were a lot of people in cosplay. I saw like a Nurse Joy, a lot of Team Rockets, which is pretty funny considering Team Rockets are the bad guys. But there were a lot of people like, yeah, I want to join Team Rocket. The event was based on helping Team Go Rocket learn about all these things, and then they turn on you and stuff. There was like a little battle area. There wasn't a trading area, surprisingly. And there wasn't really a Niantic presence there, which was probably because they knew something was gonna go wrong. They were like, I'm out. I'm not dealing with these guys. I didn't have many issues on day 2. That was more of a day where like, hey, I'm gonna focus on raiding. I'm gonna focus on finding these Pokemon. And it was much better. Like, if you can only pick one day, you should probably pick the second day, because they'll probably fix a lot of the issues. Some kids were really smart and were giving out little Girl Scout cookies during the thing, which is probably the smartest thing ever, because of course, there's going to be people who are hungry and wanting snacks while playing Pokemon Go. And of course, and there's going to be kids there too, so of course you'll get Girl Scout cookies. So I brought Girl Scout cookies all the way back from Vegas to snack on. Because honestly, genius. I think that's about it. Like, yeah, I played as hard as I could. Honestly, would I recommend going? I don't know. I would only go if it's relatively close to you. If you have to spend like way too much, like I wouldn't fly cross country for this. No, I'd wait for something closer. If it's reasonable enough, like Vegas for me, I think it was okay. I would at least go if you're at least doing something else there. Like I wouldn't go to this as my main event. Like if there's like a concert or something, if you're going to see Katy Perry, if you're going to go to the casinos, if you're going to meet people, I'd say go for it. I highly recommend going with a group, because that'll make it much more fun rather than just wandering around solo, because at least you'll get to talk to people, hang out in there. I paid $25 for both days, or $50 for 2 days for this event, not counting traveling and hotels. That's way too much money. But I don't know if I'd go to this. Like, if there was one, like, in my, close enough to my city, I definitely go again. Come on, because why not? It's not that far. Like if it was maybe like on the other side of my state, that's a different question. But if it's in your city, like definitely go. Like why not? There's gonna be so many people there. But I don't know if I'd go. I don't know if I do it again, because like at least for me, I wasn't very lucky. I didn't get a lot of the Pokemon I wanted. I did get a shiny Snorunt. I did get some shiny legendaries, but I don't know if it was worth it. Like, I think the traded Pokemon were worth it. And I do have some new friends from there, but yeah, I don't know. They just gotta fix their game. They can't stop messing up so much. Like, they know better. They've been making this game for 6 years, and they feel like they're not listening to you, you know? But I think that's my Vegas experience.